All right, let's unmute Discord and get back into it. Oh my, go away! I hit a wrong button. I'm sorry. Hello, everyone.
Oh, hey.
Yes,
Hey,
Jackson.
Jordan. Does Dane have inspiration?
No.
You sure?
Yes, he has done nothing inspiring his entire life.
Or ever.
Right.
Dane is not a good individual.
Dane has some weird shit going on. You should talk to him more.
How about no? He's a creepy motherfucker.
But Hannibal, I am here to assist you.
Shut up! I don't need to hear about your problems, Dane.
Cool.
Last
we all
time I
back?
checked, you work for me.
I just got back. Sorry for
Perfect.
that. Just got my tall glass of Jack and Coke.
Megan and Liam.
Yes, I'm back.
Cool. Liam,
I'm
back?
chewing. I don't want to bother you.
No.
Yo.
All right.
What is the question?
So, meanwhile, back at the bungalow.
Yes.
Right, exactly. I'm assuming that you want to bring it up at some point, Hannibal, but when do you think would be a good time? Would this be an appropriate time to bring up, like, because it's the first you heard back when you were talking with Lady Appleton that the dwarves, etc., stuff was happening with them. Would you bring that up?
Yeah, I'd bring it up too. To be honest, Hannibal isn't that worried so much because he knows.
Right. But would you like do anything to help
Yeah.
clarify the situation?
Yeah, I would. I would tell, I'd probably go to, hey, yo, Akradi.
Yes.
About the Kislev situation. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Especially concerning the dwarves. I lived with the Bronzebeards for years. And I know that what they're doing right now is basically they have to take a rest every once in a while from fighting against the constant tide of chaos, but it'll take maybe a couple of months or so, but they'll be back on the force.
This I did not doubt. I did not imagine dwarves had retreated from battle. But you understand that it's concerning that this happens without warning, and...
This happens without warning all the time, though. This is...
yes, it's really unfortunate we have not developed some kind of schedule or at least notification system.
Yeah, you're telling me it was always really annoying when it would happen. Because then all of a sudden, I can't go outside.
Yes, that sounds inconvenient. Nevertheless, I am more than slightly concerned about how many of my countrymen will be horribly murdered in intervening months. So, reinforcements cannot hurt, you understand?
Sure, I guess.
Is this in the presence of Morello or no?
I mean, I don't know. Seems like
That's
something
up to
that may
them.
just be between them.
Yeah, it's probably just between us.
Alright, was just wondering.
Yeah, cool. So,
Yeah, Hannibal wouldn't say that in front of Morella.
yeah, probably not.
Yeah, it'd be advised against to do that.
So, now that we jump back to the riverbanks, Vi, you notice this thing occur, and if you leave right now, you can make back to the bungalow before curfew.
Yeah, about that. I think I would turn to the two people standing behind me, relay what I just saw, and then say, "So crap, what do we do?"
I think we wait until morning. We might be able to make it back, but who knows what else might go on during the night.
Well, you would know, wouldn't you, Chester?
Wow. Alright, maybe a little. But I want to see what they're up. This is exciting. My pants are starting to tingle just a little bit here.
Pants are getting smaller.
Well, hold it together a little bit. And then I probably would send yet another message to Morella saying, change of plans. We're going to stay the night. Don't worry, we won't get into trouble. Don't come find us.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
You receive
And
I guess you can't teleconference between minds, can you?
no.
Because it would be great if we had anyone other than Vi to back that statement up.
Come on, I'm a reliable source.
yeah.
That is so untrue. I'm amazed you didn't burst into flames.
Yep. And I think Marilla, she just says fine and leaves it at that.
And does not tell her, got it.
She sends you back K period.
Yeah, I was going to say. All right, well, good.
Extra period.
Yeah.
The extra period is there for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Not typo.
Cool. Yeah, not a typo. Awesome. Yeah, do you share that with everyone else, Marilla, at the bungalow?
Yes, she would.
Okay.
I would say, should I send out Dane to go
No.
look for him? Alright.
I'm just saying this, Hannibal. Any problems they get themselves into now is their problems.
Yeah, they may rapidly become our problems if Farron is involved, and Farron is traced back to me, and I am connected to you. You understand my concern.
Yes, I do.
I would not object.
But we will
if...
deal with those problems if they arise and become problems for us. But for now, I am letting them deal with their own problems.
You are determined to show trust. Is interesting approach.
Trust is needed, especially when trust is slightly tempered with.
Slightly, yes.
And maybe she scorns and remembers what Chester a little bit.
Yeah, remembers that Chester killed a member of the clergy in cold blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Of
all
course.
we all remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding, Chester. We still love you.
I mean,
I don't know about Morello.
Right? Chester's quite proud of that.
I could totally teleport to the tunnel entrance.
Yeah, you totally could. It's only 80 feet. Go for it. When you appear halfway inside of a wall and halfway out of it, don't blame me.
Mm-hmm.
Force damage.
Lots of it. Alright, cool. So, you guys are going to bed down for the night. My question is, those of you that are at the riverbanks at the inn that you've paid for, do you set a watch?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or at least I would attempt to get the others to.
Yeah, I mean Farron seems pretty on board. He seems more determined, I think, than he's less jovial than his normal self. The conversation that he had with the snake-faced man obviously went poorly. So yeah, he's like a little bit more reserved and a little bit more like almost militaristic, and kind of just nods in agreement and takes up a position to take first watch.
Great. I would probably get last watch.
Okay, cool.
Chester would, of course, get deep of night.
Deep of night, right? Because that's your home. So I guess the only thing I really need to go over before you guys wake up in the morning is, Chester, just how many kids do you snipe out of the window during the course of the night?
Only half.
Only half.
Only
of the
half.
Kids. Okay. Well, then I guess it's good because no kids walk by the window.
I was gonna say there's a curfew. What are these kids doing out in the street?
Right, exactly. And I think that...
So it should have been all. That would have been the correct
your
answer.
correct answer would have been anything that moved, you shot it.
So I think that is telling, though, is during the course of your watches throughout the night, you see the sights of torchlight, like, kind of traveling through the city, and I think you can identify fairly quickly that it's clearly in a pattern, like a scouting pattern. And ostensibly, these are like the patrols of paladins and priests from the Temple of Sigmar that are out like parading around, and probably like once or twice they kind of walk down like by the river in front of the inn that you're staying at, and you get a good look. It looks like they're traveling fairly well armed and armored. They look like they're ready for war, and probably would be bad to be caught by a patrol of them.
Does it seem like on a certain hour they walk by?
It doesn't seem that consistent, but it does seem as though the paths are kind of set.
Okay.
Like
I feel
the
like we
roads
should
that they
make
travel.
note of those for future reference.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm kind of giving it to you. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Just sitting in a hall. Yeah, that's good. Cool. So you take note of like traveling and distances and kind of where they're going. Like I said, the timing seems a little bit weird, and that's mainly because nobody can actually check like on the hour, because it's hard to keep track of the time during the night for a society that doesn't possess clocks or watches. So time is not really consistent, but like it does seem like they travel generally the same roads, and it's mostly the major roads that they're traveling up and down and to and from. They haven't really gotten into the back alleys, but maybe that's a manpower thing, or maybe it's just a presence thing, right? Maybe they just want to show that they're out on the streets patrolling to at least help deter the ne'er-do-wells such as yourselves that want to go out at night. But I think that in the morning, you all awaken, and Vi, you've been up for quite some time. Obviously, you probably got a little bit of bags under your eyes as you've been watching. But from the tunnel pipe, first of all, you wouldn't be able to see it from here anyway. But you don't notice anything. It doesn't like burst into flames, and there isn't like dragon fire that comes out of it or anything like that.
That's positive.
I mean, it's good. Yeah, it's good. You didn't see any blue dragon fire coming out of the pipe.
For once.
Right, yeah.
It's a really specific thing to not see.
Yeah, it is really specific, isn't it? I should create blue dragon fire now. So what do you do when you awake in the morning, the three of you? Is that your cue to head back to the bungalow and relay your messages and perhaps set a plan for what you're going to do?
Yeah, probably. I'll also make sure to note that we didn't see anyone like, no one, not even them.
What do you mean?
Like, normally thieves and assassins and so on and so forth, they like to operate at night, but the fact that we didn't see any going in and out of there except for right before curfew means these paladins mean some real business.
Yeah, it definitely does mean that if they're not operating, or it could mean like it was just really hard for you to see that side of the river. But there's probably well lit. You could probably see it. You probably could have seen something being attentive. So yeah, the fact that none of you did either they're avoiding the paladins, or maybe they just travel differently overnight as opposed to during the day.
Yeah, some other exit or entrance.
Right, because you've found what you know to be one entrance or exit. There is the possibility of hundreds. But yeah, no, that's a good point, for sure. So the three of you, do you is that what you do? You head back to the bungalow and begin to set a plan in motion? I'm mostly talking to Vi, because Farron's going to do whatever I tell him to do.
Yeah, I think that during Vi's watch, though, she would have set up some caltrops underneath the bed that Chester was sleeping on, so that when he wakes up and steps down, he steps on them.
Okay. Lose 1 hit point.
Yeah.
Fucking savage.
Now you can move at half speed until you pull them all out. And, bandage
Which
up
is
your
probably
foot.
never.
Vi was bored. There's nothing happening, so she had to do something.
Right, I should have given you the blue dragon fire so you would have something to do.
Right? I know. God.
Paladin should have kicked in your door and looking for Chester.
I mean, all
I
valid
don't know
suggestions.
why they would be looking for Chester.
They saw
Actually,
your
they'd be
face.
looking for Vi, to be honest.
Well, you're the only person whose face they saw.
It's true. But, I mean,
And
she's
it wasn't
also
even my face,
she's
so it's
also
fine.
perfect at disguises, yeah. Cool.
No, I mean Chester is.
Yeah, technically. Technically, they saw your face, but you were never a enemy to them while your face was shown, so they probably forgot about it.
Mm,
Most of them.
I have a friend.
Most of them. The guy who you killed, he'll never forget your face, don't worry.
Of course. Next Revenant.
Right, exactly. Cool.
Rip.
So you guys head back to the bungalow and you meet up, and I'm sure that breakfast is cooking and the smell of bacon and eggs makes you all ravenously hungry. And while you're all sitting down to eat breakfast, I assume you info dump all of the stuff that you saw and what you discovered and all of that.
Yep. And then I would look at the people whose job it is to be tactical and say, what do you want to do?
Right, here's what we were able to find out. Okay, people who are actually fighters, figure it out.
I think we should invade at night.
Interesting suggestion. I think we should set deadly traps.
The problem with traps is this may not be their only entrance and exit. In fact, it's certainly not.
And it's definitely magically guarded, because the way that you described how that man was out there, it sounds similar to the barrier we encountered inside the church.
Most certainly that seems the case.
If I'm able to find any ruins or see anything, I might be able to know what the code is, per se.
Oh, that reminds me. And I think Vi would take the water from her pouch and toss it to Hannibal.
What's this?
This is water that I took from the sewer. It didn't seem normal. You might want to take a look at it.
Alright, I'll take a look and run a couple tests.
Aside from the smell.
Right.
And the weird pea-like color.
Right. It's a little bit of like a sulfury smell, like heart, like that kind of like been sitting in the hose too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So how are you going to like look at that, Hannibal? Do you have any methods?
Can I use my herbalism kit just to run a couple tests on it?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how herbs are going to help you in this instance.
Well, I mean, like, why don't I just do a basic, the battery, like what I did with the gunpowder? Just like sight, smell, taste. Yes.
Oh, God.
Sure. All right, so you do sight, smell, taste. Again, it's very sulfury. I think when you taste it, it's very similar to if you've ever had like an oil and water combination, where it's almost like greasy water, is the best way I can describe it, and it tastes very salty, which is strange, mostly in the fact that this is very clearly like a freshwater like area, right? Like everything is freshwater around here, but it's got a very high salt sodium content to it. You can tell that just by the dabbing a little bit of your finger and dabbing it on your tongue or whatever. Your taste buds pick that up immediately. But outside of, I think, just the basic tests, it's kind of all you get. It does have that like slightly yellow grayish tinge to it as well.
Can I try to just kind of make a spark with prestidigitation just on a little bit of it?
See if it's flammable? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not flammable. It
Okay.
retains the properties of water enough that it doesn't ignite or do
When
anything.
I tasted it, did it taste acidic?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. Maybe
Oh,
that was
good.
part of the like salty, acidic taste.
I would say that it's salt water.
That would be a very good estimate.
Yeah, I would definitely tell Vi that this is salt water. This should not be running in a freshwater place. And I think that, yeah, you shouldn't drink this.
Here's your flask back. Don't drink it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. I think that Vi would ask you, and you're feeling okay after tasting it?
Why would me tasting it be a problem?
I have vodka if you wish to disinfect.
It's fine. It's gross, but it's salt water.
Yeah.
That's the deal with it. It's just
And-
salt water. Where did you get it again?
Oh, the sewer pipe.
That's gross, but again, that's strange. It shouldn't be there.
Right, because the intake for the sewer pipe should ostensibly, because it probably works. The intake probably works based on the flow of the river, right? And it pulls water from the river, and the river's very clearly fresh water. And you are miles away from the nearest body of salt water, like hundreds of miles away.
Why would you think that I would be weirded out by drinking this?
I think Farron probably speaks up and he's like, it's... The man told me that his men drank it and one of them had temporary amnesia.
Well, duh. That's what happens when you drink salt water.
Alright, setting aside disgusting science, what is possible reason that salt water could be in town? Is what I do not know arcanery. What is there magic associated?
There could always be magic, but would I know any specific thing? Would I know of any...
an Arcana check, and I'll let you know if you want the magical side of things, or do you want like a nature reason as to why this may happen?
A nature or Arcana? I'm gonna blow my inspiration for this.
Sure.
And I'm gonna do Arcana.
Okay, cool. Nice. So 14. 14. So there are most definitely like ritualistic spells that are designed to alter the properties of substance, right? Like that's what enchantment magic is, right?
Yeah.
It's altering the properties of a substance. And yeah, there's most definitely some magic that could be at work here. Specific spell wise, you wouldn't know, but you would know that it would require probably at this scale, if like it's literally changing the water that's coming out of the sewers, and like maybe not all of the sewers, but like even to a degree at what's being described here, it would either require multiple instances of this magic or a constant upkeep on this magic.
I would say all this.
Yeah.
Could I also piece together that it might have something to do with them wanting to keep certain things in the sewer?
Describe that a little bit more for me. I don't know where you're going with that.
Like certain animals might require salt water to live.
Yeah, most definitely. If there's an animal that requires salt water to live, and you put it in the tunnels with salt water, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm bringing that up too. That's one possible reason for it is that they might, if what they're saying is that there's monsters running around in there. These monsters might require salt water to live, or just high concentrations of salt.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Great, so we now have assassins and monsters. Perfect.
I mean, you had demons earlier, so...
Add it to the trifecta.
Lady Fairheart, do you want to go fight a shark, or...
I fought a hydra. What's one more river or sea creature? And she looks at you like pretty seriously, like she doesn't care what she fights.
Yeah, we're gonna have a talk at some point about like tact and social skills and all those things you don't have.
Longevity of life. How about let's talk about that one?
Yeah,
I seem to be pretty healthy compared to the rest of you fucks. So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, at some point last night, Arkady definitely at least tried to have a discussion with her about like, okay, when you're told, hey, the Emperor is dying, don't be like, so someone will need to replace him.
Right. Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Sure. Yeah.
no, it's more like I think she went at the angle of more of like, if he does, someone has to replace him. That's just the order of things. It didn't look like. I think she's better. Like she's smarter than what you think she actually is, Arkady.
No, I think the problem.
Care.
Which she does, but
I don't think that she meant it to be blatant. I think it was blatant anyway because she's got like -5 charisma.
actually I don't. That's the thing.
That's impressive. Regardless, so
me
we
personally.
have sewer full of monsters. This is we have sewer full of wizards filling sewer with toxic salt water, summoning demons and possibly summoning demons that live on salt water so they can infest sewers with said hideous monsters. This is situation.
Seems like
Also, I believe assassins. We could be wrong.
wait, assess holes.
Assassin demonologists with ocean demons in the sewers.
Man, I can't.
What could
Wonderful.
go wrong?
Man, I would love to torture some information out of those guys.
You know that does not work, yes? Trust me, I have studies on this matter.
Yeah,
I will lend
so
you book. Anyway, yes, so do we intend to fight in head-on battle, or are we going to try intricacy and tactics this time?
Let's go
Just
ahead
to
on.
change pace.
Let's go ahead on battle, because I'm getting bored of talking.
As much as I would, perhaps intricacy would be best.
I love tactics. So, saltwater, this is something we can work with, yes?
Perhaps.
If these things require salt water to live, we have scientist, we have magician, we have multiple magicians. Perhaps we can purify water, we can do... Look, this is not my area of expertise.
Listen,
Nor does mine.
Either way, I think we need to go down to the sewers, and I would love to go down in there, basically. Because I want to see what kind of monster needs to live on salt water.
I don't necessarily want to find out.
Maybe I could dissect it.
Arcadi's just kind of looking desperately around the table for anybody else to be like, hey, I have an idea on how we could make this easier on ourselves.
Well, to be fair, I don't know about you, but I'm not going down into those sewers. I think our best bet might be to draw them out.
With what is the question?
I don't know, something that they clearly are after.
Everybody looks at Chester.
Yeah.
And I literally
I actually
turn
look
my
at
head and look at
Chester
Chester.
I actually look at Chester, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I think
rude.
Farron probably speaks up, and he probably says, like, if we draw them out, it may lead to complications for everyone in city. Don't know what the extent of their forces is, really. We either need to, I think, go down and gather more information on them, or cleanse them ourselves, or perhaps hire some help. My friend said he could at least lend us some muscle if we're worried about not being enough. But I would rather not bring this to a public matter. I think the problem with that
Let
is...
us not bring it to a public matter.
If there really is a magical problem down there, I need to go down there and see what it is.
Yes, and Farron probably says again, he goes, yes, and also, drawing them out may not draw out all of them. Whatever problem may be occurring may still be down there.
I am not
So
opposed
it
to
seems
dividing
we'll
and
have to go
conquering,
down.
but... Alright. At the very least, can we acquire a map of sewer system from city records before we dive into hellhole?
No.
I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, are you asking out of character? Because, like, the dwarves built this place.
Yeah, Arcadia is suggesting, hey, can we get a map of the sewers? Like, this shouldn't be a dungeon we walk into blind.
That's a thing you could
There's
probably
no
do,
reason
yeah.
for this to happen.
Yeah, that's probably a thing that you could do. Yeah, it would take some coordination, but yeah.
Paperwork he can handle.
Yeah. And, she probably, Morello says, well, I'm sure there are maps within the sewers. Procuring them, though, would be... And she probably, like, looks at, like, the more nefarious group and probably Petrov. That would be more of your line of work to get.
City records! Free information!
Again, and she looks at you, Petrov. That's what you're here for, to get those.
Yes, this is what I am offering to do. If I go and do this, will people still be here when I get back, or will you be waist deep in shark mouth?
I promise nothing.
She chuckles and she's like, no. I will just be preparing.
Magnificent.
As should the rest of us should. be doing.
Speaking of which, while you're out, can you pick up an alchemy set?
Probably. I will see what is on way.
Yay.
Are you gonna give him the money for that, or just tell him to pay for it himself?
I'm not going to say anything
I
about
have
money.
All right. Yeah. I mean, picking up an alchemy set. You guys have some time to like prepare. I know what Arkady's doing, obviously, but knowing what you guys know now, and if you're on the right track, then how would you go about preparing to delve into said dungeon and or draw out said dungeon? I don't know if you guys actually have a plan at this point.
Yeah, I think Morella would actually go towards individually, towards like Vi and then Chester, Farron, and things like that, and ask whether or not this is the right idea to do. Starting with Vi.
I'm not a fan of attacking them on their own turf, but I don't know that we have many other options. It might be beneficial for us to find maybe at least one other entrance or exit, just to see if we can find some other direction that they may travel out of, possibly if we get ambushed, which we can obviously determine after we get the sewer map. That would make that much easier. Once we have that, we could go find some other exits. I don't
Perhaps we can split. Hit both entrances. Or multiple entrances at once.
Possibly distraction at one while hitting another. I don't know, something along those lines. But no matter how many hired men we get, we are still going in blind.
Facing adversity is what I do best. Nothing seems to bring me down, so what can mere men do?
This does seem to be the case with you, isn't it? Well, I defer to you on that regard. That is my advice.
I will perhaps then lead the distraction team. I suggest then, I'll probably take maybe Hannibal, maybe Petrov, but the rest of you, though, should probably take the other way and get around. I can handle myself on my own. It's just whether or not yous will be able to hold up your end. I have no doubts, but
I was just going to say, do you doubt me, my lady?
not you. Farron is still well, even though he has recovered from his wound, miraculously, I am worried that it may resurface. And as for Chester, well, you know how Chester is.
Better than anyone.
Thank you.
And, what else does he say? That's the question I'm thinking. Do you think this is okay, though? That if we find multiple entrances that we split the group? Or do you decide that we should perhaps stay together?
I do not have a war mind, my lady, unlike you. However, I don't know. I do think
I don't have a mind of war. I have a mind of keeping everyone safe.
So then what does your gut tell you? Should we stay together?
My gut is unsure. My gut is telling me that perhaps we should split.
Then that's what we should do.
My mind wants to trust you, to place trust in the matters in your own hands. But Chester has tempered with it.
Chester's in the background making a little heart symbol with his hands.
It's fantastic.
Don't worry, my lady. We will hold up our end of the bargain. If that is what you want to do, we will make it happen.
Chester's playing nice, Morella, I swear. I am.
She notices. And she, like, maybe smiles as you say that, Vi, and she's like, well, good. And then she probably, like, asks Chester, like, what he thinks, what Petrov, well, not Petrov, but Farron thinks, things like that, so on and so on. What you guys tell me is what you guys tell me.
I think Farron is of the opinion that attacking from multiple angles is a good idea, for sure. But he's also heavily concerned at being separated. Now, it's probably hard for you to determine whether or not that's separated from you or separated, like, the group being separated. That's probably a little bit unclear.
Yeah. I think that's actually a question I will ask Vi, though. Not concerning about the actions of what this group is going to take soon. But she, like, looks at Vi before leaving. She's like, Vi, what is your opinion on Farron?
In what way, my lady?
In any manner. What do you think of him?
Oh man, Vi smiles. She goes, do you want my honest opinion or my
Yes.
diplomatic one?
Your honest opinion.
He is a good man. He's a solid fighter. And I think that I think I stop for a second and then say, loves you very much.
I think the hairs on the back of Farron's neck start to tingle.
Yeah. And she looks at Vi and she's like, how does one know whether love is there or not?
Oh, my lady,
What does one
I am
feel?
not the person to ask.
Tell me, should one feel attraction towards this man?
Again, I think that I will tell you to go with your gut, as it were.
My gut tells me nothing.
Then I think there's your answer.
It is perplex, I believe. I think that... Do you not find him in this form of... as a woman, attractive, yes?
Ha! Farron, attractive. I don't think so.
In
But
honest
that's
sense.
just my taste.
In honest sense, do you not find him, if based on not your own personal opinion, but based on a mere woman's perspective, that one should find him attractive? I mean...
I would say, well, the ladies certainly do, if that's any indication.
Yes, and that's what troubles me. I think. Farron treats me with kindness, and he's not as one would say, an unattractive man. He is actually quite pleasant to look at, in terms of a woman's eyes. But I don't feel anything for him.
Well, I think that there's your answer, my lady. Possibly men are just, not your thing.
What do you mean?
Vi is like struggling here with this conversation. She is super uncomfortable.
So, do you send the save me eyes to anyone?
Oh no, this isn't private. This isn't with anyone around.
Do you send the save me eyes to, like, general space?
To my lucky god above. Something possibly will break Saved by the Bells type of situation.
You send a message to anybody asking for help.
I think that I would just say, well, my lady, again, I really don't think that I am the person to ask. However, I think that you're on the right track. I would explore these avenues more. However, one thing I would say is possibly talk to Farron about this. He might be under a different impression.
Yes, I get that feeling from him. Although, I'm just unsure. My whole life I was told that perhaps that I will find a strong man or a man of one who I will spend my life with. But no man really seems to fancy my interests. Not even notable ones like Lord Anthony. She looks at you. She says that.
I was like, oh yeah, Lord Anthony. I mean, yes, well.
Tell me.
I'm just saying, Lord Anthony is a hot motherfucker. I'm just saying, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I understand.
And
he made my pants smaller.
yeah. And she kind of like looks at you like as she realizes like after she says Lord Anthony, you kind of like maybe like your eyes go dart off in a different direction for a bit. What is your opinion on Lord Anthony? Should women sway as they do with Farron?
I mean, do you not?
I don't think I do.
Again, yet another piece of evidence pointing you in a very different direction.
I'm still confused on what you mean by that.
I think one day you will figure it out, my lady. But right now, we have some demons, assassins, and possible sea creatures to deal with. So maybe we could have this conversation another time?
Demonic asshole like, hold on. I'm trying to think of a name for him. Demonic asshole? Demonic summoning asshole sailors.
Wizards? I think we gotta get wizards in there somewhere.
Sure. Cultists. Let's call them what they really are.
And
yeah, cool.
and
Awesome.
she ends the conversation, I guess, there, and she like maybe starts
Vi literally
wondering.
immediately blinks away before you can even continue like the conversation even a little bit.
Oh no, like she would have stopped. She would like, I see. Perhaps I will think on this.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. So.
All right, cool. So, I think that Petrov, are you gonna buy that thing? Yeah, after I gave you the price for it.
As painful as it is, I'm sure Petrov has backup resources, and at the very least, this should mean that Hannibal is now indebted to him. So yes, Petrov will buy the chemistry set.
So, for those who don't know, the chemistry set is first of all, it weighs 8 pounds, but it also costs 50 gold. So it is quite expensive.
It's finally happening. I will make an explosive army.
You had better make some pretty sweet napalm with this.
Yeah, you better make something. Cool. So he brings you your alchemy set, and I don't think anything else like really happens except for like.
I hug him hard.
You pick him up and you spin him around.
and I give the most evil laugh ever, like a mad scientist laugh.
If there were a different character here, I would say he would feel regret as a free action. Cool. So my next question is, what really is the plan here, guys? I think we've gone around in a lot of circles and talked about it, but like, the longer you sit, the longer like other things occur, right? Nothing is static.
Yep.
But
I think that we should go out right now.
You're gonna go out searching for another entrance. I know that much. If you find another entrance, what will you do with said entrance?
It's more of we find another entrance, wait back for Arkady to bring back the maps to perhaps maybe procure that second entrance.
Sure.
And then we devise the plan then.
Okay, cool.
And then act.
So let's bounce over to Arkady, because Arkady, you would actually, if you go to like request the public records of the sewers, They would direct you to the Thunderer Clan Hall. The dwarves actually maintain the records for the construction of this because they're the ones who made it.
That's probably good.
Yeah, it's probably good, but it's also probably not as good because dwarves are very secretive when it comes to stuff that they make.
Do you come back and tell us that?
I mean,
You know, I do know, thanks to his interjections previously, that Hannibal has connections to these dwarves.
He does.
Or if not these dwarves, some dwarves, at the very least. I wasn't paying close attention to what he said. It was Hannibal. But I do have his chemistry set now, so he owes me. So yeah, I am going to head back and drag him onto this quest.
you give him his chemistry set, and then, like, right as he goes to grab it, you, like, pull it back, and you're like, You gotta come to me first.
He puts his hands on it, and then while he's drooling over it, and now I immediately require your assistance getting into Thunderer Clan Hall.
Cool. So yeah, I assume that while you're...
Yeah, let's go. Come on, let's get going, let's do this.
Yeah, so you guys head over to the Thunder Clan Hall, and Hannibal, you've been here before, because it's where you stole your black powder. Acquired your black powder.
Don't make it seem like I'm some lowlife.
I mean,
It's not us.
You did, like, knock a dwarf out and take black powder.
Mm-hmm. I did.
So yeah, so you get there, and you get to the gates, or whatever, and the two of you are awaiting, like, escort in, because, like, you're an ambassador, Petrov, you have access to, like, get in, and Hannibal, you're a friend, you've been here before, they kind of know you.
Mm-hmm.
And Hannibal, make me a perception check.
Can Dane also make one?
No. Actually, not in this instance. Dane would have no basis for making this. Nice. So you remember your friend, that, the one that got you in here and opened everything up for you and
Yeah.
got you the black powder?
Yeah.
So I think that as you guys are being escorted to, like, the scribe's hall, you see that essentially in a prison, like, work camp, and can you mute your mic, please? It's feedbacking on me, and I'm getting confused by hearing myself talk. You see that there's like a workforce of dwarves that are in kind of rattier clothing, and they're all kind of chained together. It's basically a chain gang, and through all the dirt and muck that's on his face and covering his body, you see your friend. What was his name again? It was Gungear, I think.
It was Gungear.
Gungear, yeah. Gungear Thunderer is working on a chain gang.
I
He's
would
got, like, a
ask about
pickaxe in his
that.
hands.
I would ask about that. Going, what's up with that? The guard.
I think the dwarf escorting you, he probably says, like, he's probably like, "Oh, that's just the prisoners."
What's Gungear doing on there?
He's like, "Oh, unauthorized access into the vaults."
Man, he must have really gotten drunk that night.
The guy just kind of shrugs. It's clear that he doesn't know.
Hannibal just lets it go.
Sure, yeah. So you eventually get to the scribe's area, and there's this very old dwarf. And for a dwarf, that means he's, like, super old. And he is, like, hunched over, scribing very slowly and methodically on a scroll, and he's clearly, like, transcribing an old letter or something over onto, like, new parchment so that it can be kept for the ages. And he looks up, and he kind of, like, squints his eyes to see you, and he says, "You're mighty fine, mighty thin for a dwarf." He's looking at you, Petrov.
You may note by lack of beard I would make terrible dwarf.
Hey, don't. Just roll with it, dude. They respond better to dwarves.
I think that he kind of looks at you, and then he looks over at Hannibal, and you're quite tall for a dwarf.
I know, it's a shame, isn't it?
He kind of just, like, nods you, and he's like, "What can I do for ya?"
Well, fellow dwarf, we need to get our hands on some of the sewer maps.
He's like, records? The city? One
That's
moment.
right.
And he, like, you see him, like, creakily, like, his arms are shaking as he lifts himself up out of his chair, and he, like, gets down on the ground, and you see him, like, he grabs this, like, old gnarled kind of walking stick, and he begins to walk over, and he's walking, like, up some stairs, and he's moving, like, really slowly, like he's lifting a leg at a time, and then pushing up with the staff and lifting his other leg, and it's so tedious it hurts you to watch it happen. But I assume that none of you, like, interject in
Hannibal
this
knows better.
instance that is occurring, and eventually he gets to the top of, like, the little step stool, and he reaches for this, like, large tome, and he pulls it out, and you can see dust, like, falling, and I think he's he pulls out the tome, and he gets down, he's like, yes, tome of city ordinance, and he lets it fall on the table, and it just, like, crashes, and, like, dust and papers fly everywhere, and he, like, lifts up the cover, and rolls it over, and he keeps flipping over, and you can see that they're like design maps for, like, the city itself, and eventually he gets to like a sewer part, or like an underground part, and he's like he looks at it, and he's like, something like this, and he spins the book around so you can see it, and you can see, like, it's a pretty well detailed map, if not old map of the underground.
That's perfect, my man.
So how massive is this sewer system?
So it, luckily for you guys, it seems like most of the system is not up at the highest part of the river, for obvious reasons. Most, if not all of the system is, like, located in this general area here, like underneath this part of the peninsula. The refuse and stuff is transported over here and then dumped down the drains and down into the piles, because it makes more sense for everything to flow downriver than to be, like, dropped in up here upriver. So it's luckily for you, it's kind of localized to where the entrances are. You do probably note that there are a few places, like a few, like, service access places scattered kind of throughout the tunnel system, or throughout the peninsula itself, like where ostensibly someone could go down into the tunnels and, you know, perform maintenance or whatever. But I think that if any of you have ever been or heard of Middenheim, this is child's play compared to what Middenheim has. Middenheim is a veritable catacomb of tunnels that run for hundreds and hundreds of miles of just intertwining tunnels and shit going on there. This is essentially just small time compared to that. Although still...
Okay, so given how intense they are about keeping secrets, I feel like this guy's not going to react well if I ask if I can make a copy of this map.
Making a copy is one thing, but, like, if you were to ask him if he could take this, that would be a completely other thing.
Okay, no. I can't imagine it would take too long to make a rough copy of the map.
It wouldn't, like, so here's the deal, like, it's extensive enough that, like, journeying down there's definitely, like, the potential of being like, well, you know, we're gonna have to, like, camp down here. Like, you could spend a few days down there to actually, like, fully, like, map it out. So it depends on how long you want to stay here, like how detailed do you want to get with it. Do you want to map out the bigger tunnels with some locations and things, or do you want to try and get, like, a full copy of what's going on?
I think Arcadi's first priority is noting all the entrances, like, to the ground level, and how they connect to each other.
Sure, and then, like, from there branch out into the cider tunnels.
A little, yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be a roll, obviously. I would typically do a cartographer's kit roll if you had that. If you had a cartographer's kit.
Not my jam.
Yeah. Would I be able to assist
You
Petrov in this
are
matter.
not even there.
Motherfucker. Right.
Yeah, no, this is a Hannibal and Petrov thing. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Go team.
I thought they came
Would I
back. Okay.
be able to help with my intelligence?
You could certainly attempt to help with your intelligence. What kind of check is this gonna be? It's a hard one. Because it's like, what do I check you on? Do I check you on your ability to actually draw it? I don't think that's a proper thing to do.
Would it be survival?
Let's go ahead, and I don't think survival's the proper way to do it either.
Intelligence to get the angles right. We call them angels.
I actually don't know. Let's go ahead and make it let's go. Yeah, I guess intelligence is the only skill I can equate it to. So let's make intelligence saving throws.
Saving throws.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah. We'll make an intelligence saving throws. I'll give you if you happen to be proficient with it, then you're just you're a little bit better. Hannibal, you can roll first. Roll an intelligence saving throw, and if you get over a 15, yep, cool. So you get an additional. You get advantage, I should say. Actually, Petrov on your intelligence saving throw.
Sweet. We can't just use that 20, huh?
No, he said he was going to assist you. Good thing.
Well, that was a really important advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the scene that we get, right, is like, Arkady, you're like down there and it's kind of like dusty and crampy and maybe like it's been a while since your hand's starting to hurt. But Hannibal is able to like be like, oh no, look, that tunnel actually crosses under this one. It's not a 90-degree angle. It's actually a straight pipe that goes underneath it. So he is able to help you a lot. And you get a fairly good idea of where the entrances are and where they lead to and, where they might be coming out of. As far as like side tunnels that lead to other locations, that's going to be a little bit harder. I would have required a much better roll, I think. But yeah, you can get a generally good idea of how you would traverse between one entrance to the other.
Okay, that'll do. Yeah, thank you. You understand my expertise tends not to lie in dwarven tunnels.
Yeah, and I think like you notice he was probably asleep a little bit, and he's like, huh? Yes, all done, good. And he like goes to like close the book and bring it back.
I mean, I was thanking Hannibal, but yes, that guy too.
Oh, I thought you were thanking the guy.
It's
Obviously, I'll be polite on my way out, but
Sure.
yeah, we're done.
Goodbye, old dwarf. I'll see you again another day.
He kind of like waves his hand as he like struggles to get up the stepladder with this tome.
I'll bring Ale.
Yeah, I think like he acts like he doesn't hear you, which he probably didn't hear you because he's old and decrepit.
He knows. I say to Arkady.
Yeah, he knows.
I'm sure he can feel it in his heart. Alright, so back to the bungalow, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.